In what I would call a true mask-off moment, the Daily Beast published a pretty terrible piece going after Casey DeSantis. And when I say terrible, I'm specifically referring to the name calling that they engaged in. The writer here decided to refer to her as Casey DeSantis is the Walmart Melania. Yeah. Because whenever you have women in a political space, and it doesn't matter what their political ideology is, and let me just be clear and say this up front for anyone who's already losing their minds over me not liking this framing. I think that there are areas in which you can criticize Casey DeSantis, 1000%, I have no problem with that. But comparing her to other women in the political realm is so gross. Referring to her as Walmart Melania, like a knockoff Melania, also pretty gross. And it was written by someone who I would assume, Katie Baker, is a proponent of the Democratic Party, probably a voter for Joe Biden. Hey, you wanna criticize Casey DeSantis? Great. How about you don't do it in a disgusting, misogynistic way? Not that hard.
Okay, so I have a different critique. Doesn't mean I don't agree with it, and I do. My critique is the Walmart part. Like, haha, she's cheap, she's Walmart. A giant percentage of the country goes to Walmart. Look, you want to criticize Walmart's business practices. We're literally the first ones that platform things like that. Robert Greenwald did a brilliant movie at Brave New Films calling the high cost of low prices at Walmart. That's a great critique of Walmart. You want to critique the people who go to Walmart and take shots at them by saying, oh, someone's not classy, they're the Walmart Melania. That is horrible elitism. It is, and it doesn't help anybody.
Well, Cenk, what I think the Democrats failed to understand, and honestly, I was in this camp in like 2015, 2016, right? When Republican voters kept calling Democrats elitist, and I'm like, what are they what? How are we elitist? I don't get it, right? But after a while, I finally started to understand what they were referring to, right? When you look at the Democratic Party, it's now made up of hyper-educated voters, right? And they do, like the way that they talk about these issues makes it pretty clear that they see themselves as above Republicans, right? Above the fray in their minds. But in reality, the way they're communicating to voters turns a lot of people off. And I think this is a good example. And why would you provide fodder for that line of thinking? That's exactly what this piece does. And I'll get to what the criticism was about. The criticism is justified. We'll get to that in just a moment. But Dana Loesch agrees with you and me, Cenk, on this. And this is exactly what I expected to happen. Let's go to graphic 10. They're calling her Walmart Melania because they think only hayseeds and the poors shop at Walmart. The only thing try too hard is Katie Baker's jealous dollar store wannabe burn book aesthetic. Whatever, that last sentence is ridiculous, but I think the first sentence is correct, unfortunately. Like
I hate agreeing with Dana Loesch, or however you pronounce her name.
Yeah,
she probably feels the same way about my name. Anyway, but don't give her this fodder to do it.
Exactly.
But they can't help themselves because they're the Daily Beast. Guys, read the Daily Beast with a lot of caution, okay?
Unless it's Ben Burgess. He writes for them and he does a great job.
Oh, Ben Burgess is great, right? But like even when it's guys I can't stand, Herschel Walker, etc., I read it with tons and tons of caution. They're giving a massive hyperbole, pro-establishment thinking, and anyone who's an outsider, they pretty much despise.
Now, what was the piece about? It's centered on this jacket, the stupid jacket that Casey DeSantis is wearing. And look, she's out there campaigning with her husband. It's a leather jacket, and in the back it says, "Where woke goes to die," with the outline of the state of Florida. But like, guys, why is anyone even surprised that she would wear a jacket like that? That is literally the entire campaign platform for Ron DeSantis. And she's out there campaigning with him. Now, you should criticize her for it if you want, and I think that it's tacky and ridiculous and whatever. Like, okay, fine. But you don't need to call her names and compare her to other women in the process of trying to criticize her for this. Katie Baker also wrote that the jacket brought to mind nothing so much as the racks of a Red State Big Bin store where it would be retailing for $24.99. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Why are you helping the right?
Okay.
With this framing.
Look, back to the misogyny. There's this thesis that Politico started, and it was because DeSantis' own aides and donors were leaking to them. And now everybody's piling on, including Daily Beast. Casey DeSantis is meddling too much. If you've got a healthy relationship, you ask your spouse for their opinions on things from time to time, right? And maybe you have a spouse who doesn't care about politics at all. Maybe you have a spouse who cares a lot about politics. And it might be true even if you were an engineer and you were asking, hey, if your wife's not into engineering, okay, then maybe that's not relevant. But if she's an engineer, yeah, you ask her. There's nothing wrong with that, right? That's your partner in life. But they're making it seem like, oh, she should know her place.
Yeah.
Okay, Republican donors saying that, I understand. People that are supposed to be, in media and on the left, I don't understand that at all.
So let's get to what the comparison was. So obviously Melania Trump also wore a jacket that had a message on it when she went to the border as Donald Trump was taking children away from their parents as they reached the border seeking asylum. That was horrendous, disgusting. Here's a photo of the jacket she was wearing. It said, I really don't care, do you? Okay, that led to a lot of controversy as well, a lot of backlash.
But there's a giant difference because that's an outrageous out of the blue jacket for no reason at all when she was going to visit the children. And she's saying, I don't give a goddamn.
Right.
To be fair to Melania, that's perfectly on message for Trump, right? And so, okay, so they're a different animal, right? But Casey DeSantis' jacket is exactly what DeSantis says all the time. It's not out of the blue. It's DeSantis 101.
I know, but she's a woman, so this is a perfect opportunity for misogynistic comments because misogyny is wrong unless the broadly speaking left can use it against their opponents, and that's the way I see this. Okay.
Here, I just want to say one thing.
No, but I gotta get. Okay, hold that thought because I gotta get to the excerpt where she compares the two. Because get a load of this. She writes, the message on Melania's coat, like the one-time model herself, was Sphinx-like. By contrast, Casey DeSantis's coat is just like her husband Ron DeSantis's campaign, crude, grasping, saying the ugly part out loud. What are you doing? Are you kidding me? Melania Trump wore that jacket as she went to visit children at the border, as her husband was ripping children away from their parents. You're referring to that as Sphinx-like? And somehow better than Casey DeSantis's coat or jacket?
The reason why I'm mainly focused on the elitism is because I think Melania's jacket was worse if we're having this nonsense conversation. But they're painting it as Casey's DeSantis jacket is worse because it's cheaper and cruder and like Melania's at least elegant and mysterious as she says terrible things about people.
That's right. That's the tone, that's the framing.
Yeah, that's awful framing. So if you want to help Republicans, this is a great way to do it. So look, my point about they only care about misogyny when they're attacking the other side, right? But never.
When the other side is attacking a left-wing politician or candidate, misogyny matters a lot. But somehow it doesn't matter if we're attacking the other side, right?
So I lived through it. We were on the air. I'm not like when the Republicans attacked Michelle Obama on rando things. It was disgusting. And I fought back against it and I helped her. In that sense, I didn't help her specifically, I just did my job in reporting what's true or not true, right? But when you so if you said to Daily Beast or any of these guys, hey, go after Michelle Obama's clothes, what would they say? They would say, what's sexism and misogyny? Going after her clothes and what she's wearing, and does she look good, or does she look like this, or does she look like that? That's disgusting. And they would say it. Not only that, they did say it. They did say it, right? But when you talk about Republican people's clothes, apparently, Republican women's clothes, apparently that's okay, right? And again, by the way, almost no talk of men's clothes in either direction. Okay.
Right.
And taking a shot at women's clothes is only okay if you do it to Republicans.
Look, but again, I don't have a problem with her criticizing the jacket, right? I mean, the jacket has a message that the left disagrees with. I have no problem with that. I do have a problem with, there's another woman entering the political world. Let's compare her to another Republican woman, right? The comparisons, basically making Casey DeSantis out to be a knockoff of Melania Trump and nothing more than that. That's what disgusts me about it.
And last thing, Melania Trump didn't care about politics at all. She was livid that Trump ran for president in the first place. She doesn't have a single political thought in her head. The only political thought she has is how much she despises her husband, who happened to be president, okay? So, whereas Casey DeSantis apparently has a lot of political thoughts, is involved in her husband's strategy. And so now you're saying, it doesn't matter. both empty-headed spouses. No, that's not true at all. And guys, this is with me. I don't agree with anything Casey DeSantis says. I'm not defending any of her positions. I'm totally against her positions. But to say like she's just like an empty spouse and the same as Melania is counterfactual and biased. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.